Hey, Allison Verhalen here with AV Writing Services, and today I want to talk to you guys about your website content audit, what it is, how to do it, why to do it, all that good stuff. So I talked a while back about how to do an SEO audit, which is a little bit different. It's similar, but the idea with an SEO audit is different things that you can do to show up in online searches and improve your search engine rankings. Similarly, a website content audit is going to achieve some of the same goals, but it's specifically about your content, right? Your SEO can have to do with some of the more technical stuff to do with your website, all of, some of the back end stuff on your website. Of course, content is on the back end, but the meta tags, the images, all that good stuff. So that's an SEO audit, and an SEO audit can mostly be done. The audit itself can mostly be done with a tool that just crawls your website and looks for issues and presents you with the data, and you go in and fix it. Website content audit needs to be done mostly manually, so it's going to be a little more time consuming. So if you have not done a website audit before and you have like years worth of content to audit, I recommend only going back 1 year. Still going to take you a while, especially if you've been creating content every week or more than every week. But going back further than a year just doesn't make sense. It's too much work, and the data you collect from that is probably going to be outdated anyway. So just go back 1 year. Start with getting just the basic information on your content audit: the author, the headline, the time invested to create the content, or the money invested if you hired a professional outside content marketer, the date that it was published, the type of content. Is it a blog post? Is it a white paper, an infographic? The goal of the content, the word count, and the comments that it got, and the number of shares. So some of that can be done using an SEO tool. You can get some of that information, like the headline, maybe the author, if you publish that, the publication date. All that is going to be, there are certain SEO tools you can use. SEMrush's content audit tool, Google Analytics has a tool that lets you collect some of that. Obviously, stuff like the time invested is, those tools aren't going to gather that information for you. So that is stuff you're going to have to collect on your own, but they can give you a little bit of a head start. Those tools can. So like I said, start by conducting an audit of your existing content, and then going forward, just keep that spreadsheet with all that information. And then as you create content, add them to that spreadsheet. So the next time you have to do a content audit, you're not redoing all that work of collecting all that data. Also, you're much more likely to remember things like how long it took you to create a piece of content if you just finished creating it. You don't have to time yourself. You can if you're that kind of person, but have a general idea of how many hours it takes you to create every piece of content. All right, so the metrics. We're going to talk about organic traffic. How much traffic is it generating? If traffic is lower for some pieces of content versus others, there are a variety of things that could be causing that problem. So knowing your organic traffic for each and every piece of content is not necessarily going to tell you what the problem is. But if traffic is better for some pieces of content than for others, that is going to tell you that there is a problem. So then we're going to look at some of the other traffic source, some of the other metrics a little bit later in this video, just to go over that. So next up, your traffic sources. So know where your traffic is coming from. So again, this is vital to maintaining a strong content marketing strategy, as opposed to just putting up whatever you feel like whenever you feel like it. If you have a lot of traffic coming from LinkedIn, then you should probably be more active on LinkedIn. If you're having, if you're really putting a lot of effort into Twitter and not getting a whole lot of traction from Twitter, then maybe Twitter's not where you should be at. So again, look at where your traffic is coming from, because that's going to tell you where your target audience is already hanging out. Unique visitors. So if someone is coming to your website again and again and again, that's great. And you do want to keep track of that. We'll get back to that in just a second. But you also want to know the number of unique visitors that you have to your website. So not just like total traffic, but number of unique visitors. So how many new people are you attracting? How many people as opposed to how many clicks? And then again, new versus returning users. Keep track of that as well. Because if people are coming back, that's a good thing. That shows that you are creating great content and they love it and they are keep coming back for more. But you can't build a business on the same audience. You need to grow your audience. So keep track of how many new users you get versus returning users. And if you have a ton of new users and no returning users, that's also a problem. That shows that you're showing up in searches, you're getting people to click through to your website, but they're not coming back for more, which means there's something wrong with the content. Along that line is pages per session. Are they coming to your website and clicking through and looking at a bunch of different pages, or are they just clicking on your blog post, reading through it, and then leaving? So keep track of that, because again, the more pages per session, the better off you are. Along with a bounce rate, are they coming to your website and then leaving right away, or are they coming and are they sticking around a while, and are they really engaging with your content? So again, bounce rate could be caused by a number of different things. It could be slow load time. That's one thing that's not necessarily to do with your content, but it could have to do with your content. Maybe your content is too long. Maybe it's not relevant to the keyword. Maybe they just don't find value in it. Maybe it wasn't engaging. Maybe it was like super bogged down in jargon or just something that did not interest them. So take a good look at that if your bounce rate is high, because that really needs to be fixed, as well as the time spent on page. So, and this will vary depending on your content. If you have really long blog posts, obviously you want people to be engaging with that more. If you have a landing page that's just a few hundred words, not as big a deal if they don't spend a whole lot of time engaging with that content. But if you have those super long blog posts and they're not spending a lot of time engaging with it, that's a problem. So again, you're going to want to make sure that content is relevant to the keywords that you are targeting, that the content is readable, it's engaging. Otherwise, there's a problem and people are going to click away. Backlinks. So this also goes into your SEO audit, but I also recommend working it into your content audit, making sure that backlinks from other websites back to your website are valuable backlinks and they are not spammy. Because if they are spammy, Google assumes that like hangs out with like, and that will have a negative impact on your search rankings. So if it's a spammy website and they're keyword stuffing and they're just getting a bunch of backlinks in there to boost their SEO, that's actually going to hurt your SEO. So check for those backlinks, get rid of the ones that you can. You're not going to delete the backlink because you can't do that. It's not possible. But you can tell Google, hey, we're not associated with this website. Please don't count this towards our SEO. And then always try to get more backlinks, high quality backlinks to influencers who are influential in your area and well respected and that do get good traffic to their website. And then finally, conversions. Did they take the call to action? Did they sign up for your newsletter? Did they sign up for your online course? Did they sign up for your event that you're having? Whatever it is that you want them to do at the end of that piece of content, did they take that action? Obviously, not everyone is going to take the call to action, but you should have a good number of people taking that call to action. Otherwise, there's something wrong with your content. So again, make sure the content is engaging, make sure they are actually spending time engaging with that content before just clicking away, and then making sure the call to action is relevant. If you're just explaining how to do something or what something is, and then you go straight for the hard sell, depending on your industry, that's not always going to work. I know for my industry that doesn't work. For the professional services industries that I largely serve, such as lawyers and financial planners, doesn't work for them. People are just looking for a little bit of information. They're not ready to buy yet. So make sure that call to action matches the content that it's in. So that is it. Those are my tips for today. I hope you found it valuable. And if you want any more information like this, I have a ton over at my website at avwritingservices.com. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me directly at info@avwritingservices.com. That's it. Have a great week and happy blogging, everyone.